اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we'll continue our discussion on Juzuk for 27. It's a continuation of previous Juzuk 26. Alhamdulillah, our discussion will be focusing on 7 surah. Although there are many, what we call it, in terms of the division of the surah, comprises of Surah Al-Zariyat, Surah An-Nur, Surah At-Tur, Surah An-Najm, Surah Al-Qamar, Surah Rahman, Surah Al-Waqi'ah, and also Surah Al-Hadid. But in terms of the unity of theme, I would rather say that for today's discussion, Juzuk 27, we go back a little bit, one surah, that is Surah Qaf, Surah 50, and it goes straight up to Surah Waqi'ah, Surah 56. All in all, in a glance, we can see that it comprises about 445 verses, and you can imagine again, there are many informations that we can gather for the purpose of our leading our life to Jannah, inshallah. So from Surah Qaf, Surah Qaf up to Surah Al-Waqi'ah, it speaks about the belief in Allah, concept of Tawheed, and also belief in Yaumul Qiyamah. So what do we do with all these verses? So let's see one by one as a proof that it speaks on Yaumul Qiyamah. For example, we can see that, by the way, all these surah were revealed in Makkah. Only a portion of Surah Ar-Rahman that been revealed in Medina. So in the scale of 10, I would say that the situation at Makkah at that time, during the revelation of those 7 surah, the scale is about 3, whereby in today's context, we call it as Islamophobia. The people of Quraysh in particular disagreed with Prophet at the level of 3, and it will pick up later on to higher level when it goes to the other surah, whereby it requires the Prophet to move to have this hijrah, so that later on Al-Quran will be revealed in Medina. So okay, for the discussion on Surah Al-Qaf, and up to Surah, as I said earlier, Surah Al-Waqi'ah, it speaks about hereafter. And for example, in Surah Qaf, it speaks about, in specific, Jannah and Nar. Surah, same also with Surah Al-Zariyat, it speaks also about hell, about Nar is our choice to choose, and so also it goes together to Tur, Najm, Surah An-Najm, Surah Qamar, Surah Ar-Rahman, and Surah Al-Waqi'ah. All it speaks about Nar and also Jannah. So we go now with this information in hand. What do we do? So what are our responsibility then? So okay, we will go briefly with regard to Surah Qaf. For example, in Surah Qaf, what is actually it speaks about Qaf? Qaf begins with the information that Al-Quran is a noble revelation from Allah Ta'ala. However, Quraysh at that time, this doubted that Al-Quran comes from Allah Ta'ala, and doubted that the prophethood of Prophet Muhammad. And what more when Prophet Muhammad was speaking on the issue of hereafter. So the same thing that Allah explained further with regard to Surah, the next Surah, that is Surah Al-Zariyat, which we know very well that Surah Al-Zariyat, that we, for students here and also for staff, it speaks about on the responsibility of Muslim as a whole. For example, in Surah 50, verse 56, from Surah Al-Zariyat, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ, meaning to say that Allah Ta'ala created us with specific purpose, that is to worship Him or to service in terms of our life is for the purpose of seeking His mardatillah. So it goes on also in Surah At-Tur. Interestingly, again, when we talk about the explanation of Surah Zariyat, Surah Tur, Surah An-Najm, and also Surah Al-Qamar, Allah begins with oath. What do we mean by oath, or in Arabic we call it as qasam? Qasam here, it talks about the position of Zariyat, wind, or we call it wind, that brings, or we call it good information and also bad information. At the same time, Tur, it speaks about what we call it mountain which specifically or indicating strength. And as Najmun, Surah An-Najm, star, and so also Qamar. All these four surah is actually reflected the objective, reflected the information in terms of God's creation, so that Allah Ta'ala put it in terms of what we call it metaphor. What do you mean by that? So let's see what we have to speak on this. I go again with regard to Surah Al-Dhariyat. Now, when we talk about Surah Al-Dhariyat, the theme is actually what comes from the sky. Yeah, what comes from the sky that enliven the soil and also provide varieties of fruits for all of us to benefit, are all in the form of physical sustenance from Allah. Now, what about spiritual sustenance? When we talk about spiritual sustenance, wahyu is also from Allah Ta'ala, from heaven, by which that speaks on the guidance that we Muslim has to follow, and also the regulation, or what we call it, the way that we should be submitting to Him, so that we will be living peacefully and also inshallah in future lead to our life to Jannah. So now with this Zariyat also, meaning to say that Allah Ta'ala informed us that wind, it can be interpreted into 4 dimensions. First, we talk about wind that bring or blasted, like in this surah, it talks about the blasted for 8 days, 7 nights on the people of Ad for rejecting faith. This is number 1. The second one, it talks about winds that bring happiness, for example, in the form of giving the information on which Al-Quran used the term aqim. Aqim means barren, whereby it good information in the form of similarity, in the form of angel, whereby angel came to see Prophet Ibrahim and also Sarah. Both of them are old, but because of this giving good information, though they are barren, they are able to conceive a baby. So in the end, we came to know that Sarah will be carrying baby by the name of, inshallah, in future, as the name of Ishaq. Then we know that's prophet of Ishaq. And another aqim is that, but this is negative one, whereby upon this blast on the people of Ad, we found that the people of Ad could not get any zuriyat at all, or any they become barren because of the severity of the blast of the wind. So having said that, what do we do with all this information? The next surah move on that talk about Tur or mountain. Again, it signifies the strength. It speaks about the event of Prophet Musa and family. It is actually related to, it goes up, strength, and it will not waver. But the theme of this surah, as I have said earlier, it talks about the nobility of what we call it Al-Quran. It will never change, because Allah Ta'ala mentioned in other verse that says, Nahnu nazzalna dhikra wa inna lahu lahafizun. We are the one who sent the reminder, and we are the one who going to protect it. So Tur here, it means is a form of metaphor that what we call it, to indicate that the strength, just like Tur, so also the verses of Al-Quran will stay put, inshallah, by the will of Allah. So we have the role to play into that, to make it relevant into this context. Now move on also to Surah An-Najm. Surah An-Najm is again talking on the issue of victory. victory in the sense that victory information given to Prophet Muhammad alaihi salam, whereby he Allah informed revelation is real and not illusion. At the same time, also it is huda or guidance that leads to Jannah. Wal hawa or evil desire lead us to nar. So what do we do with this? Now, so to become to make it what you call some kind of motivation to Prophet Muhammad alaihi salam. Tool here, it talks about future victory, whereby Prophet Muhammad alaihi salam and his companion will be succeeding in the battle that we found in history, Battle of Badr. Move on to Surah An-Najm. Surah An-Najm, again, it speaks on the further highest level of victory that man can experience, is that the issue of Isra wa Mi'raj. Here in Surah An-Najm, it talks about Ma'nawi, the victory to Prophet Muhammad alaihi salam after he has been severely, attacked, or severely aggressively attacked by the mushrikun of Makkah for not believing the concept of hereafter. So in Surah An-Najm just now, in Surah At-Tur, it talks about Baitul Ma'mur. But now in Surah An-Najm, Allah mentions specifically that that Prophet Muhammad alaihi salam will be moving up, ascent in this event of Isra Mi'raj, higher up there, up to Sidratul Muntaha. So Alhamdulillah, this will be the greatest successful, the greatest information that we can share with regard to Surah An-Najm. Go on to Surah Qamar. Again, it talks about victorious believers of the Prophet who follow the successfuls, following the teaching of Prophet. And it goes on here, reminder, وَلَقَدْ تَرَكْنَا آيَةً فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. Again, it goes on as a reminder, وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. So we have indeed made Quran easy to understand. Remember, then is there any that will receive admonition? So with that, it goes on again to Surah Ar-Rahman. This one vividly Allah mentioned on the characteristic or the Jannah, and so also in Surah Waqi'ah is just opposite of Jannah. So what do we do with all this? So it's a reminder for all of us that life, we have to fulfill our responsibility in the spirit of وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Therefore, our objective is to meet Him in the hereafter, to live happily, inshallah. With this, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.